All right, we'll take a breath. I want to say Miigwech, salamat everybody. And here are Andy and RJ to open PAGKAKAISA. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you. So we're in the space at the moment, and we're gonna give you a really shaky tour. Actually, Cinda's gonna take this phone. Okay. So the show is called PAGKAKAISA. And I chose this, actually it's not even my mother's native tongue, it's in Tagalog. But I also had named the pieces in English and in French, just to kind of speak to how the languages that we use are often to be able to transmit ideas in the ways, to our audiences in the way that we'd like to, whether or not it hurts us to not know certain kinds of languages. I'm a part of a glorious fight, but I won't continue without you. So PAGKAKAISA, the Tagalog term for in unity or solidarity, is a practice of kinship and defiance as it relates to the artist's roles in their communities. With backgrounds in frontline organizing and education, Andi and RJ analyze the tensions manifested by internalized racism and colonialism, connecting their stories and celebrating empowering possibilities. They explore a future of accessible, inclusive resistance where approaches to dismantling oppressions are boundless and kind. So for the first piece, thank you so much. This piece is called Thank You. And if you could see up close, it's a found object. It's part of like a Niagara Falls memorabilia. And you could see different images promoting Canada and the potential of lifestyle and culture. And in the middle it says, I learned of my legacy and ancestors through the harms made by yours. For this, I thank you. So in this piece, we wanted to speak to how we're thanking like generations of folks who've harmed ourselves and who've harmed our mothers, our parents beforehand in trying to navigate our harms in like different ways. So this piece is called Libération en fait. And in English it's release actually. And so for this piece, it's made with brass strings and plastic ties. And one of the things I wanted to do with this piece is that I wanted to work with my hands because I had missed it. And at the same time, I wanted to emulate how each individual toils and goes through each struggle individually. And sometimes we release it in different ways. And when we release it, it can be such a beautiful thing. Yeah. And have RJ explain the next piece.
This piece is called Our Dreams. It was a collaboration piece that I made between my partner Cinda as well as my friend Rana. And it came to me when I was in conversation with Rana and Andy, and a lot of it, I had this idea of like being able to create a dream catcher, but with barbed wire in it, because I think dream catchers are very significant around being able to catch dreams. But I think too, in order to have solidarity between different nations, we can't do that unless we're fighting together and other folks are free. So it makes me think of a lot of the times like the criminal justice system that over polices a lot of our nations. It makes me think of folks in the South who are fighting for freedom, and also like all of the people and families who are stuck in migrant detention cells. These are also like tear gas canisters that we had gifted to us from Rana, who is a awesome artist from Palestine. So I think it speaks a lot to kind of like, what does it look like to build solidarity between different movements, and also like, how can I combine culture with that? And it turned out to be like a very industrial look. So instead of the, like usually there would be like beads here, these are like different barbed wires that we were able to create and kind of put it into the dream catcher. You're gonna have to say the name. It's important.
So the name of this piece is Malgré eux, which in English means despite them. And so I had thought about this piece around having pleasure and joy in our life amidst all the harms and oppressions that marginalized, racialized folks experience.
As well as just in access to pleasure, how important pleasure is for keeping our different communities together. This was a high flogger that I have made mostly because I like the imagery of being able to combine my culture with, or different things within my culture, and being able to like explore different aspects of things like that in BDSM. A lot of that goes back to power and control, and sometimes taking control of like sexuality for me feels super empowering. So I kind of like creating those two things, but a lot of it goes back to like being able to bridge and have access to pleasure and not have it be like super white. So I think this is a way of like, we're trying to reclaim those things. I can't remember that when you first made the leather pieces, what did I think they were when you asked Rana?
Oh yeah, I thought they were potatoes. And I was like, abstract, guys.
Abstract. Like, what does this look like? Very serious.
This does look like. I'm using the wrong toys apparently for pleasure. So I think that's the potatoes. You're gonna take anything away from the show. It's my tube and the potato leather. And so the final piece is called Makibaka, which in Tagalog means to struggle and to fight. And so the images here, it's a collage on a grid that I had found. The images are of dear friends and comrades that I organize with in the community. They're amazing, and I love them dearly. And just to speak to this piece, it's around, well, it's the pieces kind of have a flow to it. And so the previous piece was about pleasure, having pleasure and joy in your life. And so once you've replenished yourself and incorporate it as part of your healing process, I believe like movements are a success when you have the ability to be open, to be loyal, and to look at the movement from every angle. Yeah. Thank you, Sudha, for your cinematography. So we're gonna run downstairs and like start asking some of the panelists questions and have discussions. So we'll be a moment. Cinda, if you can.
Yeah.